children and young people. Turning to my second submission, my lady, I'm mindful that the experiences of children and young people is one that is close to your heart, and you have on several occasions raised the importance of hearing and understanding the experiences of children and young people to your inquiry. The inquiry needs to grapple with the roulette of COVID-19. Whilst most children suffer short, mild illness, some do not. It is very important that the experiences of children and young people that suffered from, and in some cases continue to suffer from long COVID, are not forgotten. As we have said, those children suffered the dual harms of the general impact of isolation and the loss of education had during the pandemic, as well as the physiological harms of long COVID. I refer you to the public testimonies of families, children and young people shared on the Long COVID Kids website. I have two brief examples to share, one from the perspective of a child and one from the perspective of their family. A child aged 8 said, "On big days out now, I now have to use my wheelchair because otherwise I get too tired and I would have an energy crash." B, the family of J, aged 12, said, "His life is unrecognizable now compared to pre-COVID. He has spent the last 2 years seeing doctors, visiting hospitals, taking supplements and medication, having physiotherapy and pacing. COVID literally knocked him off his feet." I'm sure you are cognizant of the profound impact that the sudden loss of health and enduring disability have on previously healthy children and young people. We have 3 requests on behalf of children with long COVID. A, that there is proper pediatric evidence. B, that the list of issues is amended to reflect the investigation into adults and children with long COVID. And C, concerns every story matters. Turning to the first point, the expert report of Dr. Breitling and Professor Breitling and Dr. Evans, whilst recognizing the harm caused by COVID to children that developed into long COVID, it is candid in its acceptance that those experts are not pediatricians and are not expert clinicians who are hands-on and treat children with long COVID. My lady, this leaves a gap in the evidence for this module of the inquiry, which is the absence of a properly resourced pediatric expert opinion. Children cannot and should not be compared to adults. Their experience is unique, as is their physiology. It is over a year until Module 3 starts, and we'd reiterate our request on behalf of our clients that the inquiry instructs a pediatric expert on long COVID. I note that this is likely to assist your investigation in the future module on children and education. My instructing team remain very open to meeting the inquiry team to discuss this constructively and offer suggestions. Secondly, the list of issues should be amended at paragraph 12A to include, in quotes, definition and diagnosis of long COVID in adults and children, close quotes. As suggested, it is important to specify the unique experience of children. Thirdly, in relation to every story matters, long COVID groups are concerned that the current plan to research and review the experiences of children and young people will dilute and depersonalize the experiences of children and young people with long COVID. As matters stand, children and young people will not be heard either in the hearings or through Every Story Matters. The long COVID groups are concerned that those children with long COVID will be hidden in plain sight as a minority group under the crushing weight of the experiences of other children and young people. Our client, Long COVID Kids, has proposed that the listening exercise collects accounts from children in a personal manner. As your lady recognized, children's memories fade, but it seems taking children's accounts, whether that is individualized or otherwise, has still not yet happened. Long COVID Kids have further noted that younger children may not have the language to express their experiences, and artwork could be submitted instead. Our clients continue to work with the listening exercise team and would invite consideration of these proposals.